Hello there, this is Marlene, Astrologer Extraordinaire, 28 years. Today, this is going to be a little bit about going over Mercury Direct, which actually happened December 6th. I'll go into that a little bit about what you can expect. Before I do that, I am going to do a birthday shout out for my Sagittarian friends here. So, I'm not going to say any last names, but I know some of you have been watching, but I just realized how many Sagittarian friends I have, and they're so much fun to be around. I was just thinking, wow, if I could get all of these people together in a room at a party at the same time, it'd be one heck of a fun party. A lot of fire here, and they're always very spontaneous and fun. So first of all, I'm going to say for November 22nd, we had a birthday for Cindy. November 30th, we had one for Tim. And let's see, December 10th, we have Frankie. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to December 11th, Charmy. And December 15th, we had Bob. December 16th, Claudine. Happy birthday. December 17th, we had Tara. Happy birthday, Tara. And December 18th, which is today, Jamie. Happy birthday, Jamie. And a shout out for tomorrow, December 19th, Peter. So happy birthday to all of you. I hope you had a very special day. So now we're going to go into the Mercury Retrograde cycle. I just kind of wanted to recap because Mercury went retrograde actually November 13. It did go direct December 6th. So, you know, they're short cycles, about 20, 21 days, 22 days right in there. But they do create a little havoc. Now this one I really kind of wanted to recap mainly because it's at the end of this long barrage of cycles that we've had that really began back in May. And because we had a Mercury retrograde cycle back then, followed by a Mars retrograde cycle, which is a bit longer. They run anywhere from 9 to 11 weeks. There is a variation with that because of the rotation of the planet, that particular one. Then we had a Venus retrograde cycle, and then in conclusion again another Mercury retrograde cycle. So when that happens, so many of them in a row like that, a lot of people's lives are off track and kind of really upside down for a little bit. And so we're just kind of coming into the end of finally a smoothing out, back to the left brain, right brain switching, going again from right brain to left brain, like, okay, everybody's thinking is kind of back on track, like, what was I doing 2 months ago, 3 months ago, 4 months ago, 5 months ago, or trying to get these projects started, and all of these fits and starts and stops and stalls, and trying to get back on track again, and gosh, taken out by emergencies or unexpected things, and just having a wrench thrown in things left and right because you just can't seem to get any fluidity with those cycles. So many of you have probably experienced that. Not to mention, I'm just a quick interjection again about the Uranus cycle, because Uranus, did make a sign change in early May out of Aries into Taurus. Now, it does spend 7 years in a sign, so it's a long cycle. So those of you that are Taurus or Scorpio or Aquarius or Leo, now, I'm going to say not just the sun sign. You could be Leo rising, Aquarius rising, all the way through the other signs. Sun, Moon, rising, Venus, or Mars, have any of those planets in those signs in the early degrees, you're going to be affected by that Uranian transit. Now, because we just had, my little, again, my handy dandy ephemeris here, it might be hard to see here up to the camera. But yes, this is my astrologer's handbook tool here. So this is what I'm looking at. We're at December 2018. When I'm talking about these events and things that are going on, these disruptions that we've had, quite a few, and all the eclipses through the summer as well. So what we had was, I'm looking at Uranus just backed up into Aries again in early November. So now we're going to include another set of people, anybody who's Aries and or has, again, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus or Mars in Aries, Libra, Cancer or Capricorn. They're going to have the final close out of that until Uranus moves back into Taurus again. So that many people, signages, we're talking about 8 of them, whether you have your Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus or Mars, and any of those signs I mentioned are going to be experiencing change, revolution, shock, surprise. Those are words that we describe Uranus, having the rug pulled out from under you, things just happening unexpectedly. So that's part of what's happening in this cycle. For many of you might be experiencing that. So now we're going to go back to Mercury Direct. It went direct December 6th. Now there is a shadow period. That doesn't mean everything gets to be righted once it goes direct. That shadow period, looking at my ephemeris, it says December 24th. So now Uranus does govern communication. So any communication device, that's a phone, that's a TV, electronic devices, cars, vehicles break down a lot at this time. Tend to be more accidents, car accidents at this time. So again, be careful if you're traveling, if you have to travel at this time, as a lot of people will be during the holidays. Just be extra careful and watching out for the other guy. So now, so there's a lot of mishaps with things like that. Equipment, your phone breaks, you have to get a new phone, or the good news about this time is, because it went direct, a lot of you maybe haven't bought Christmas gifts yet, and you might be in that rush like, oh my gosh, I haven't even started my Christmas shopping yet. I really need to get on this. The good news is, if you're buying electronic gifts for anybody, there's a much higher probability that what you purchase now is not only going to work and maybe might not be broken or have a part missing. Also, you might find what you're looking for to be in stock, where maybe a week ago, 2 weeks ago, a month ago, maybe you like a particular type of phone you were trying to find for somebody, they were out of stock, or whatever it is, you're trying to find a gift for a friend, a dress, a shoe size, a particular color, size, didn't have it, out of stock. Those are the kind of things that are really very typical with Mercury retrograde transits. And now you have a higher probability that whatever you're going to purchase is, excuse me, asking me to restart my computer now. No! See? There we go. There's a nice example of Mercury retrograde. Bad timing. So anyway, so there's a much better probability that those things that you were looking for are going to be in stock now, and as well as the higher probability, if it's an electronic gadget, that it's going to work and you won't have to replace that, refund, or return it. Because there are going to be more significant returns when Mercury is retrograde. That's just, you have to expect that. Now, one of the things I'll say about that, because like some of your favorite things that you might buy at the store, you might notice they've been out of stock. I notice this every Mercury retrograde cycle I go through, and or Venus or Mars. Like, for example, this product that I've used for years and years and absolutely love it. And I mean, I looked everywhere for it. In my local supermarkets, I thought maybe Kmart will have it, maybe Walmart will have it, maybe CVS, all these different pharmacies that I couldn't find it anywhere. And I thought, wow, I was beginning to think, gosh, I've used this for so many years. I hope they didn't discontinue it. And so I decided, Amazon. I'm going to look on Amazon. So I get on Amazon and hallelujah, you know, they have it. I was like, oh, thank God. I was so excited. Of course, they only had it in one size. In like the largest, grandest size that I didn't even know they made it in that size. I thought, oh my God, well this isn't, you know, exactly what I wanted, but okay, you know, I'm going to use it, so I bought it. So that's another example of, you know, the timing and not being able to find precisely what you're looking for. So I kind of made like a couple quick little notes here because I wanted to make sure that I cover the things that I wanted to talk about with the Mercury retrograde cycle, because these things, there's always like a few certain things that you can almost count on happening. Probably many of you are going to be able to say to one or a couple of these points that I brought up, yeah, that happened to me. Yeah, oh, I can relate to that. Okay, so, you know, one of the things, plans and schedules for the holidays, probably a lot of you have, you know, maybe were offered with family, friends, you know, even within the last 30 days, trying to plan ahead for holidays and schedules where, you know, you weren't really ready to make a commitment yet, or I don't know. You know, I don't know if that time's going to work with my job, with my boss, with my schedule, with my husband, with my wife. Let's talk about coordinating these things where you didn't really have, it wasn't really feeling like it was the right time for you to make that commitment. Now, you know, even though, yeah, it might seem a little late or close to Christmas, but it's just that the timing is better working out with people where you're saying, okay, yeah, okay, that date looks good for me. The 26th, we can do that. The 22nd, we can do that. That time's going to work out for me. Where if you did make a plan 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, you probably found that you had to change that. High probability of that. So things are kind of, you know, coming back more on track again at this time. So one of the other things that I wanted to talk about, which is kind of interesting, is that you may have noticed, and I'm talking about in the last 2 months, 3 months, 4, 5 months, that a lot of people from the past might have shown up in your life. And these can be people that maybe you haven't seen for 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. And all of a sudden, you know, you get a phone call out of nowhere or an email or, wow, I found this person on Facebook. Or you bump into somebody in the store that you haven't seen. And so these kind of things are very common at this time. Interestingly enough, just last night I bumped into somebody I haven't seen for like 3 years. And neither of us recognized each other because he had a real short haircut and a baseball cap on, and I didn't even recognize him until he came up to me and said, oh, hey. And so, you know, these kind of things happen. Another thing that's common at this time, old lovers, boyfriends, girlfriends from the past, and even quite a long time ago, can show up at this time. And some of them may be saying, wow, hey, whatever happened? Or maybe that person might want a second chance. And if you're single and available, there might be that possibility. There's also, the other thing that happens commonly is maybe if you've had a fallout with an old friend, or a fallout with boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, an ending, something that maybe didn't end too well or seemed to be left inconcluded, is a good time for those things to kind of be discussed and concluded at this time. So, you know, kind of more clearing the air a little bit so that you both feel a little bit better about moving forward, whether it's going to be with each other or without each other, but at least kind of clearing the air. Now, another thing I want to talk about, and again, my videos, it's longer than I wanted it to be. I apologize for that, but I'll try to conclude this in a succinct fashion. The other thing, retrograde cycles, a lot of things get lost. Like, mainly, I have to say, huge, keys and cell phones really seem to get misplaced a lot. Credit cards, maybe you can't find your favorite pair of shoes, and these things get lost. You know, sort of call the bank and say, I've lost this credit card. You know, for my own safety, I need to get another one. And before it shows up in the mail, you find it in a jacket pocket or something. These kind of things happen a lot. Or, you know, maybe you can't seem to find a pair of earrings or a necklace, and all of a sudden, you know, the girlfriend calls you up and says, hey, I meant to tell you, when you spent the night at my place 3 weeks ago, you left your earrings on the nightstand. So I just wanted to let you know, I've been meaning to call you, and finally, you're like, oh yeah, thank God, those are my favorite earrings. So anyway, it's a time where a lot of things get lost, but then, you know, or they're lost in a previous retrograde cycle, and then the planet goes direct, and or a different one goes retrograde, then these items mysteriously show up, and you may have taken them for lost, but these items might show up. So if you did lose something, it might show up in another week or two or a month. You never know. Just putting that out there. Now, another thing I wanted to mention was jobs, because there are a lot of job losses in Mercury retrograde cycles because it governs the planet of communication. So sometimes it's, you know, a few bad words are shared, or somebody might be a little volatile in their language, a little blow up, whether your boss at you or you with your boss. Consequently, maybe you lose your job. It happens very commonly in these cycles. There's a lot of job changes. So people either quit or get fired. Now, that may not seem, you know, very comfortable for some of you, but the good news is, because that's happening, it might be easier for you to turn around and get another job, because there's a lot of job openings right now. Now, another thing, let's say you applied for a job a few weeks ago, or a month ago, or even a few months ago. There's still been a lot of these changes going on for, you know, 2, 3, 5 month period. Seriously. So even if you think, oh, you know, that was too long ago, that position's probably filled, you know, I don't really have much hope in that. I'm going to tell you, maybe you do. It's worth a try. You give it a try, because, I mean, even, you know, maybe even the manager or the GM left or quit, and maybe some of those, he took some of those applications for the last 1, 2, 3 months with him in his folder, and these are some of the things you don't know. So any of these things are possible, and or in the shuffle, you know, the left brain, right brain switching, people aren't thinking, well, you know, it's not actually urgent that I need to go hire somebody immediately, or they've got caught up in their own emergencies because things just happen out of left field during this time. People get off track. Okay, and now they're starting to think again, yes, we do need to fill that position. So if you did apply for a position and you're thinking, you know, gee, I haven't heard anything, it's been this long, I've checked back before, I would say check back again. Give them a call. Hey, you know, I'm here, I'm still interested in that position. So I don't know why all of a sudden the color is really changing on this. This is weird. I'm still trying to get this right, and Mercury retrograde, so again, I apologize, the clarity's not the best, and all of a sudden the color's getting really orange on me, and I don't know why. I didn't touch anything. So again, these cycles are just problematic. So anyway, that's one of the things I wanted to mention about the job. So have some faith, go out there and give them a call, knock on their door, show up. I know not a lot of people in this day and age do that anymore, but I still kind of think things the old-fashioned way. I like to physically knock on the door and show up, and, you know, face to face. I want to know who I'm working with too. You know, I was of the mind that I would be also interviewing them while they're interviewing me. That was just my style. Is this somebody that I want to work with and or for? So I want to close it out there and wish everybody a happy holiday and safe holiday season. And I'm going to work on the color, the clarity, and all of those great things. And I'm going to have my information below too for those of you that want to schedule a reading, 15-minute, 30-minute, an hour, and I'm going to have all of that information below on how to contact me. And I'm going to start doing more videos and work on getting this clarity and color and everything else a little bit better. Okay, so thank you very much for watching, all of you. See you soon.